What's up, guys? This is Oscar from RC Works, and I wanted to give you guys a quick update on my latest project, something that I had in mind for a couple weeks, and finally acquired the parts to make it happen. And what you guys see before you is a U4RC rock racer that is within the rules of rock racing at the 2.2 unlimited class. And so what does that mean? What that means is that you are allowed a 15.5-inch wheelbase, and we're at 15 inches with this, and it allows you to be 13.5 from here to here with the arms straight. And we're just under 13.5 inches. So what that means is that you're allowed to run this vehicle using a 2.2 wheel with these rock racing tires and a cage that also utilizes a driver and panels. So it has to be like a roll cage that you use, and I'll show you guys in just a little bit. But before I get to that, I wanted to show you the base and how is it that I got this far. So just a quick little background. If you have been following me, you'll know that I was running the team associated RC8 the DB8, and that DB8, if you'll excuse me for a second, is right here. And this is what I used at my last U4RC race, and this was a ton of fun. So why did I go ahead and build this Arrma if I already have an RC8? You'll understand why I'm saying RC8 once I explain this a little more. But this is the DB8, which is the 8-scale desert buggy. And so from this desert buggy, some of the Tekno guys have been running Tekno DB48s. And what they've done is they've taken a short course truck and used the truggy chassis and some of those components to basically come up with this setup using a truggy chassis and a front and rear short course truck. And that allows you to have that 13.5 wheel inch base and about 13.5 width and then 15.5 wheelbase. The DB8 is a little bit shorter. I think we're at around 14 inches in wheelbase, and everything else is fine. The only issue is that Associated utilized a front and rear 8-scale buggy, and by utilizing the buggy, it pushes you out further than that 13.5. Not quite 14 inches, but just over 13.5 inches. And that is just not allowed at U4RC racing. So you'll notice that these hexes are not the long ones. I tried using the shorter one. These are the ones that the Nomad DB8 utilizes. And it didn't matter which one I used. It still set me over the 13.5 inches that are allowed. And the reason why is if you'll notice that this design right here, the arm goes into the wheel. So going back to the Arrma Rock Racer, that is, you guys know, is a pillow ball. And so that's a straight assembly, and it goes basically straight down here. So nothing's protruding into the wheel, which is very important. So it doesn't matter what base you guys use. I strongly recommend that you use a short course truck front and rear clip, and that you utilize a 2.2 wheel that will fit. So let's go ahead and put this DB8 on the side and go back to this Arrma rock racer. And so, since I was not going to be able to legally race with the associated rig, I just decided to go ahead and swap platforms altogether. So I'm legal throughout the season, and this is what I came up with. And again, what we have here before you is a front and rear Arrma Sentin. This is the first generation, so I don't know if you guys have the V1, V2, or V3. Either of them will work. I just happen to have a V1 at hand, and I took it apart. So what did I utilize? Okay, so you're using basically everything all the way up to the steering assembly from the Arrma Sentin, and you're using everything from the rear from the Arrma Sentin. And what you'll need from the Arrma Kraton is basically the chassis, which I also had laying around. I had a different project for this, but I went ahead and used it for this Arrma rock racer. And you're going to also utilize the drive shafts here, the center drive shafts, the front and the rear. Now I believe this guy here in the front is the same as the Arrma Sentin rear. And I think I measured them and that was correct, but you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. But the Kraton will obviously work. This front brace is also the same on an Arrma Sentin. Actually, all the Arrma cars, the front brace is the same. The mud guards is something that I also had to cut, and I'll show you guys why. Basically, this front piece just needs to be cut and then notched right in this particular area because the body is going to go in this area. So I have two options. I won't talk about the second option, not because I don't want to, just because I'm not sure if it'll work. But option number one will work, and you just have to be a little creative. And so what option number one is, again, if you guys recall, I did mention that this rig, rock racer, has to have a cage and a interior and also a driver. And that can all be achieved by acquiring the Nomad DB8 cage, and you can purchase the interior, which is Lexan, and then all of these panels. Now these panels you can make yourself out of Lexan, or you can just buy them offline. You guys can go to horizonhobby.com, and they carry an array of associated parts, and then just bolt them on, paint them whatever color you want. They come clear, and that's it. Now, as you guys can see, and if you're familiar with my channel, that Nomad DB8 was actually on my DB8, and that's what I kind of used to kind of mock this whole Arrma rock racer rig from. And so, unfortunately, this will not be able to mount directly. You will have to be creative, and I don't have a proper solution at the very moment. I wish I could give you guys some, but if you guys have any ideas, please post them up on the comments below. But this is just a mock-up so far. Again, this project isn't complete. This is just an update as to how far I've gotten with the particular project. So what I think will change will be the front, the rear, and we'll figure out a mounting situation. But going back to the notch here, you guys can see that the body kind of goes into that area, and I needed to trim the mud guard or the side guards just a hair, well actually about an inch down, just to get it to clear the roll cage. And this will also make you legal and will allow you to participate in the 2.2 Unlimited class at the U4RC events. Now, one of the coolest parts of this whole build is these Moto Racing 2.2 aluminum true beadlock wheels that I recently acquired from them. And the guys over there are super cool, and this is probably the most important part to this entire build. Reason for that is because it's a 17 millimeter it will allow for you, it's a 17 millimeter wheel hex in the rear that'll allow you to use a 17 millimeter wheel nut. And what the guys over there have done is, if you guys take a close look, you'll notice that there's about 8 screws here that allow you to bolt this adapter in the center. And they've made it so you can use either a 12 millimeter hex or this 17 millimeter hex. So it's a 2.2, true 2.2 front and rear. And this way we're able to utilize these 2.2 wheels that will allow us to use these Proline Hyrex wheels, which are the go-to tire for this particular style of racing, because most of the terrains are very loose. There's a lot of pebbles. It's just a very loosey-goosey style of terrain. And this design that Proline has come up with just absolutely works. So, let me see if I can get a close-up since I'm filming with one hand. And I'm trying to show you guys here at the same time. But that right there, my friends, is a 17 millimeter hex, which is where at Moto Racing developed this aluminum 2.2 wheel that allows us to get creative and build these unique rock racers that will allow us to utilize the same tires that all the other guys are using, and also keep us within the parameters of keeping this rig legal for this for racing at U4RC. So now that I've gone over all of that, I am just super stoked that this project is coming along really, really well. It's not complete, but I will post up how much it weighs. Obviously, this is just a setup that I have. I have a censored setup as far as my motor and ESC goes. I may use a different servo, but I just wanted to give you guys a quick update as to what I'm doing over here at RC Works, and just the possibilities. Some of this, hopefully we'll get to see more Arrma race rigs out at the U4RC events or just for bashing. So anyway, thank you guys for checking this out. I hope for those of you guys who are trying to build this, it helps you out. If you have any questions, please follow me